privilege to develop dozens of communities for thousands of families across Nashville. And although what we're going to show tonight is a very small community in what we typically do with 55 homes, it's really important to us and it means a lot because it's very intentional to where we do consider ourselves local. We're not an out-of-towner. We're not a publicly traded company. We're not beholden to shareholders. We really want to create something special for people that live in Nashville, that are from Nashville, and give them the opportunity to live close to where they work and create something nice for the community. And I think what we're going to show you speaks to that. I will give you guys just a tremendous amount of respect and credit because when we drive through your community, it's beautiful. I understand why you all are on this phone call and you're apprehensive because you hear the word development. I get it. And that's the real reason we want to have this meeting and the reason that we were wanting to be in front of the community before we've ever submitted anything 3 weeks ago, because we want to hear from you. We want to know what you see and to gain some feedback from you when we share this plan. So with that, Christian can share his screen and we can just quickly highlight what we're trying to do. And then ultimately, we're going to open it up to questions to get your feedback and then things that we need to be thinking through as we make our submittals moving forward, should we move forward.
Okay, you should be able to share.
Christian, are you on?
Yep, I'm on. Hi everyone. I'm Christian McCary. I work with Wayne Summit Development, and like you said, we're a residential developer. We do not go vertical on homes, so we will develop lots for builders. We don't have a builder picked for this project yet, as it's early, but I do have the plan pulled up. We
Okay, we can't see it yet. Let me make sure I got you able to
You want me to see
share.
if I can share, Christian?
well, hold on. I think I need to click share. Can you
Okay,
see
now
me?
okay. It's got, there it is. Okay.
Okay. So this is the plan that we have today.
Can you
It's,
make it a little bit bigger?
yeah. How's that?
I have to make your, okay, yeah, that's better. Yeah.
Is better?
And we can't see the top of it, the bottom, I guess, the going the other way. There you go. We couldn't see we can't see the very top. We might have to make it a little bit smaller. I was trying to
That better?
like there's no in between. Okay.
Yeah, there's not.
You can see the whole parcel now, but it's
That's
smaller.
right.
So
Is that better?
that's back to where it was, but it looks like there's no in between
Okay.
what you went to before.
I'll zoom in and then
Okay, okay,
move around a little
okay.
bit. But
That'll be fine. Great. Thank you.
yep. It's roughly 14 acres. We're utilizing about really 9 acres of the land. We're providing a through connection from Woodshire over to West Campbell. We have two different lot types. One of them is a 50-foot lot, which would probably have a 5-foot side setback, so you build a 40-foot home. This could range from 2,000 to 3,000 square feet. And then we have a cottage product. This is a 22-foot wide by 52-foot deep detached single family home. There's a few builders around the Nashville MSA that build this kind of home. So I have some examples that I can share with you, but before being a lot developer or land developer, I have worked at home builders in the past, and having a detached home, it's better for the community. It increases values more for a community, and home buyers definitely prefer that. The only reason they're going attached and owning is if they can't afford anything else. So that's our cottage product. We have 44 of them on here.
It really interject. What you're going to see here is, again, the character of your neighborhood is special, and you do have larger lots, and we want to try to keep with that nature of it, with extending through Woodshire Drive, with the larger single family detached, and then really insulate our what we're saying is cottages, because it does provide so many different avenues for people that are maybe a first-time home buyer. And honestly, in that meeting 3 weeks ago, we found out that there's people that are almost 40 years old that are still looking for their first-time home. And this was really resonating with them to be able to have that opportunity. But it's also one of those types of homes that you see lately that we have a lot of aging in place, that people want to stay in their community. They don't want to maintain acre, 2 acre yards anymore, but they want to have that turnkey, being able to jump in their car, go to the airport, go wherever, and feel okay with that. And what we typically see with our home buyers, well, our builders, and then obviously we're the HOA, is a lot of these are maintenance included for that smaller of a detached home. And so it does allow those people the ability to come in and leave, feel safe, everything's being taken care of, and they can travel a lot more. So it really speaks to the first-time home buyer. It speaks to those single parents, but it also speaks to the people that are wanting to age in place. What's also important for us is making sure we maintain a strong buffer. And you already have an amazing natural buffer that's very full. And what we'd like to do is to go in and be able to supplement that in the places that need to be supplemented. And by creating the cottages being interior, creating walkability and some sidewalks that you all will be able to also utilize versus an open kind of ditch section that you currently have. We think this creates a great space for that here, and as well as creating the privacy buffer from what you guys already see. Yes, it'd be different. However, with the enhanced buffer, it's going to feel very much the same, because we're trying to hide it as much as we can to keep the privacy.
And you're also maintaining quite a bit of open space
That's right.
to the west and to the south of the property, it looks like.
That's right. And as well as in that area that Christian's showing, and that's where we would like to have some opportunities for discussion. But again, we feel like with the sidewalk network that we are creating, it is giving a benefit to the public and the community residents that live there for safety. I'm a little hesitant on some other things that we could or can't do, just because if on the other side of the TVA easement, yes, we do own that land, but to create a pocket where people can gather where it's not visible to the neighborhood is a little bit worrisome for me as a developer and an HOA. And so, however, with it being a natural vegetated state, is this something we leave, or is there something we can create for the community? We would like to find that out from you all as well as we're going through this. But Christian, sorry to interject.
Yep, that's fine. Yeah, and we do have a stream to the north, so we're staying off that and protecting it. I think that's it for the plan. I can share some examples of what a cottage may look like if you're good with that, Councilwoman Gamble.
Yes, we can go on. I will say that I like the idea of maintaining that open space and not disturbing that area. And there may be other amenities that you can provide to support the community in regards to traffic, turn lanes or other things that we might look at that would probably be more of a benefit than putting something in that open space. So I'll just put the pin in that for later.
Yes, that's great. And before Christian discusses this, again, we are a true residential lot developer. We have no plans to come in, entitle, and flip like we see a lot of our counterparts do in the market that are really kind of a puppet of a national builder. We have some very strategic relationships with builders, and what we are able to do here is we can craft the architecture and stipulate certain building materials that can make sure we meet or see kind of what you're seeing in your area already. What you see and what Christian's going to go over are representation architecture of builders that we have and or would like to work with. The elevations you see could change and can change as far as materials. We do want to have a very robust and dynamic streetscape where you're not seeing the same thing over and over and over again, and we can make sure that happens. But what you're seeing now is a hardy plant. Those can all change to brick, stone, variations of it to keep a very dynamic streetscape. And I just wanted to let you know that before Christian got into it.
Yep. So this home does have hardy. It's built on the Davidson County, Rutherford County line, I believe in Laverne. There are a couple builders in there, and then I have another.
Would this be more like the cottage style?
Th-
Yes, this is the cottage style. So
This,
this is a 22-foot wide home. This is an example of what it could look like with brick. Um, so between those two, homes will look similar to that, different colors, different amounts of brick and hardy. There will be no vinyl siding. As you see on this one, you can see, the foundation or water table is just concrete. So in Metro, we'll put a brick water table around the entire home to enhance its look. But these are the two examples that came to mind. It's built close to Metro and from builders that we'll be talking to.
and these are all two-car garage. What you can't see in these pictures are they create depth so that you do have the ability for a variety of different square footages where you might have somebody that doesn't want it upstairs, or they have the 1.5 is what we call it, or the bonus room upstairs. And so it really is flexible in that regard. But because of how we're laying out the site, it's trying to keep the streets as clean as possible. We can't police it all the time as far as on-street parking. What you can do is you can make sure you have two-car garages and driveways, and these are all alley fed on the cottage style so that you are keeping the main network and the thoroughfares clean, and you're not seeing cars parked on the street.
That's correct.
What are the size of these homes?
Yeah, so the ones that you see range from 1,600 to 1,800 square feet. In talking to builders, it could be anywhere from like 1,000 to 2,000 square feet is what, depending on the builder, what we're seeing. Usually 2 or 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bath.
And on the larger single family lots, every builder has a 40-foot type of home, and those really can get kind of crazy as far as square footage just go. They 1,600 square foot, but they flex up in the mid threes, and some can even go into 4,000, depends on the kind of stuff. But typically here it'd probably be a 2,200 square foot to 3,600 square foot on the larger ones.
Okay. Now, what would be the price point? Because you're talking about 1,500 square feet to possibly 3,600 square feet for those homes. And I know we're looking at market rate, and at today's market, I guess we would go by today's market, which may change by the time these homes were built.
So, builders are always going to sell to the market, right? Probably for the highest amount that they can. But it depends. What we're seeing on the data that we pulled from RealTracs and MLS, the cottages in Metro, you can find them in the low to mid threes. For example, in Madison, there's a community that sold at those numbers. What I just showed you, which is Rutherford County, so a little different, but those were 400 to 425. And on the 50-foot lots, I mean, it could be depending on the size of the home, it could be a mid 400 to mid 500 is probably a fair estimate at this time.
Okay.
So, translating that to a mortgage payment at these interest rates, that could be on the cottages of $1,500 to $2,000 a month mortgage, depending on how much you put down, and on a $500,000 home, call it, could be $2,000 to $3,000 a month mortgage. So it's people who are working.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's we track this regularly, and right now, as of even last week, the 30-year fixed mortgage is 6.86% before any rate buy downs from a lot of the builders. And so if you have, it's roughly $656 per every $100,000 that you finance. And so for a $400,000 home loan, if there was no money to be put down, so FHA FHA, excuse me, loan, they're looking at roughly $2,600 a month with P&I for a $400,000 loan. So that gives you a parameter of what the estimated payments could be for the cottages, and those would be staggered up going into the single family larger lots. But it also depends on how much they're going to put down and what builders' rates are and the buy downs. But
Yeah.
ultimately, it's important to know, and just as an education piece, if we as a developer are going to move forward with this development and really try to create something special for Nashville in this neighborhood, we're looking at between the time we submit and the time we even have engineering plans approved, should we get that far, it's a 2-year process to even break ground on something like this. Doesn't matter if it's a 50 lot community or if it's a 500 lot community. It's a 2-year process. And then to develop something like this with our resources, contractors, it's another minimum 12 to 14 months. Really, it's the average right now is 14 months. So it's a 3-year process from the day we are meeting right now before you'd ever even see a home go up for sale. And hopefully in that time period, we have rates come down and it allows a lot more options for people that are in Nashville to be able to afford a home here.
So who are the builders? You mentioned that you've worked with several builders and that you haven't selected one for this project if it moves forward, but who are some of the builders that you've worked with?
Yeah, so we talked to all of them, right? The ones that we think would be a good fit here could be Legacy South. They are they build a lot in East Nashville.
And they're locals.
Locally owned and operated. I think, that brick home that I showed you was a Legacy South home. The other home that I showed you that was Hardy, that was a Pulte home. I used to work at Pulte Home, so I have relationships with those folks, trust them. I know they've also built these cottages in Metro and in Rutherford County. So those are two that come to mind for me, but another one, maybe Ashton Woods. We're developing some lots for them in Wilson County. But we really don't we're not in a contract with a builder. We won't do that until it's ready to break ground and we feel good about terms and also, what they're going to build. So,
and Christian hit on it. Architecture is so important. We really do have relationships with every builder in town. As a little history, not that it matters, but my wife's side are the Goodalls. So I've been around the home building business for a long time. And Goodall Homes, before it was sold in 2016 to Clayton Properties Group, we did a lot and still have done, and they still are doing a lot in Nashville. And they've revamped even what they offer in a home series. And they just recently sent us some of their new stuff. And it's stuff that they need to work on because we want it to be a little bit more elevated than what they're currently showing. But that could also be a builder who still has a local presence and has history in the area.
yeah.
Okay, we'll stop now and open it up for questions and just ask that we try to keep this as orderly and respectful as possible. If you want to raise your hand or unmute yourself to ask the question, that'll be fine.
I have a few
Yes,
questions.
I see Lynn Sutton.
Yes. So I guess my first question is, will you work with multiple builders or will this be one builder?
This would be one builder.
Okay. And the cottages look a lot like the build to rent products that we're seeing a lot today. Are we certain that this won't turn into that? And how do we know for sure?
Yeah. For me personally, I have no problem, and I don't know how you do it legally, but restricting this from build for rent, because right now we do not work with any of the build for rent groups in Nashville. And frankly, I think it's going away a little bit as far as just the restrictions across the entire Nashville MSA. We're seeing that in a lot of the municipalities we work with, but we don't have relationships with build for rent groups, and we don't intend this to be build for rent.
I will say I have no interest in build to homes for rent. Unfortunately, there's no way to stop it legally. I've tried. I've looked
That's my
into that.
concern. That's my business, and
Yeah.
I see that every day. So, these things get built and then they get sold and then they get turned into build to rent. And that is a huge popular product today. And we are building them like wildfire with developers that we work with. So that's my main concern. How do you control that?
Yeah, sure. We
Yeah, I
typically,
appreciate that. Like I said, there's no way to legally do it, but I have several projects going on in the district, and none of them have turned into for rent homes
Yes.
because there's a lot of interest for people to move in this area.
yeah, and
So
I
I'm
guess-
not sure. I know that I see that a lot in Antioch and in South Nashville. We have not experienced that here and don't intend to. I would also say that they are pursuing, if we go forward, a specific plan, SP rezoning, which would be specific. It would have to be specific to the amount of units, how they are, any open space, anything that we require in this development would be codified by law in a specific plan. So with this zoning option, it wouldn't be like a straight base rezone where they could come in and do anything under that zoning. It would be a specific plan that would be specific to what we agreed to have.
And there may be a mechanism to restrict build for rent in your HOA, your declaration, right? I don't know for certain if it's legal or not. We need to talk to our attorney, but you may be able to say only
no one owner can own more than two
Yeah.
homes. And that's what we've
Yeah.
done in the past.
Yeah.
We've done, this has come up in a lot of our Mount Juliet residential developments, and we restrict the HOA documents to state that. And then it's, of course, up to us and our management company to maintain records of that. And that's the way we've done in the past to restrict rentals because of what you're saying, Mrs. Sutton, where what happens if the builder that we work with just decides to change ownership, they're not selling, and they just go to the national group and say, here it is, fire sale. Well, if you have that in the governing documents, that comes up when it's actually recorded, because we can record HOA documents. So it's a legally binding document that would then be caught up with their titles when they start running title on the property. And so that's one way we do it. I've never encountered that at any of our developments, but that's a valid concern for sure.
And
I have a question.
yep.
Okay, I have several. How many houses are you going to build?
Well, we're proposing 55 lots, so it'd be 55 homes that would be built. But we will not be personally building those. We will construct the land and then sell those lots.
Okay. So really you have no involvement in the homes. You're just fixing the land.
We do. The involvement we have in the homes is through the SP as the developer, because this is our
profit
development.
from the building
This is
of
our
it.
development. So it means something to us on how it looks, how it feels, because it's our name. And so that's the process that we have, is we can restrict and mandate architecture, mandate how cars are perceived and parked on the street, all of that within the SP that then goes back to our builders. So they have to adhere to those guidelines per our development.
Okay. Let me ask Jennifer a question. Jennifer, isn't our present subdivision or area must have 1 acre can be split into 2 homes? Is that correct? And that's
That
it.
is what the current zoning allows. Yes, the
Okay.
RS20 zoning allow 2 homes per acre. This proposal would be about 4 homes per acre.
There's 9 acres of buildable property.
Well, that they're
So
building on,
at
yes.
55 homes, that's 6 homes per acre.
Yes.
So that means they're going to be side by side. How many of them are single level homes versus cottages? I know you don't know exact, but approximately.
I think they just said that during the presentation. I believe it was 44 cottage style and 10 larger single family. They're all
Yeah.
single family detached. They're all detached single family homes.
Okay.
We
I think
can't
for
speak to the-
44 cottage style and 10 of the larger.
And I
So-
can't guess at what a builder would do as far as just only doing one level. Typically with what you see, it's more expensive just to do one level. So they have to sell it for a touch more. So it's easier for them to go vertical and create the extra space. So most of the homes you would see here, if not all of them, would have that second floor to it.
Okay, so Basically, they're going to be approximately 22 feet wide and approximately 55 feet, 52 feet long.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's basically a house trailer. Turn long ways on the lot. Yes, a double wide, excuse me, house trailer. So we're going
But
to
they
build
aren't trailers. They
approximately
will
a
be
house
built from the
trailer.
ground.
We're going to approximately put house trailer length size houses on the lot property.
But they
what-
are
they
not
all gonna
trailers.
be
They will be
brick?
built from the ground.
Other
Are they
than
all
they'll
going to be brick homes?
they all going to be brick, but I don't think they were brick homes in that picture.
No,
No.
he didn't. Go ahead.
There'll be, I would say there'd be a mixture of brick and hardy, which is fiber cement siding, and it allows you to provide different colors. So
So
there'll be
you're
a
going
mix
to
of,
lower the value of our homes in our neighborhood, which we
well,
have all bought in this neighborhood to have the bigger lots, to have at least an acre. That's what it was called for in the beginning. So you've got 9 acres over there you want to build on. Why don't you build 9 homes and everybody wins?
Not everybody, because
Even
nowadays, when you
No.
bought your home at
Well,
a 1 acre, it didn't cost $1 million. In
I
today's
would,
market, an acre lot home would cost $1 million,
$1 million.
and most working people cannot afford that.
Yeah.
So we're
How many
looking
how
to
many
Ma'am.
entrances and
build
exits are
homes
you
in
It's on
going to
today's
two and a half
have
acres
there?
and not worth $1 million.
Okay, we're looking to buy homes that are affordable in today's market.
But in today's market, the homes in our area have sold close to $1 million. Some in our very
Exactly.
subdivision.
That's my point. Exactly,
Well,
because they
why
are
do
on
you
those
want to
larger lots.
devalue? Why do you
Because they're
want to
on those
devalue
larger
our
lots.
property and lower our property
No,
value, which is
ma'am,
what you're going to do?
the evidence doesn't show that. There is no evidence to show that
You're
these new
devaluing our
developments are
property.
lowering
You're going to
properties.
have
In
more
fact, it's the
traffic and
opposite.
safety issues, which traffic now on Campbell Road.
It's
And
horrible.
have you noticed how many safety cushions you have put on Kniff Parkway alone? And now the traffic on Campbell Road, you're going to have to
Yep.
put traffic lights and street lights through here. And it looks like according to the plot, you only have one entrance and exit, which is on Woodshire. Is that what
And
the
no
plan
lights
calls
at
for?
all. No lights.
Michelle, would you please collaring out, if we could please be orderly and not interrupt when somebody's talking. And if you want to speak, you can speak after the person who's speaking finishes.
My question is there only one entrance and exit, and that's on Woodshire?
There are 2 points of ingress egress. They do function through Woodshire, which is a stub street. And I understand the hesitation. Development's definitely a tough thing to go through. I've lived through it my whole life as well, and where I live. And what I think is being lost in all of this is there's this very strict process, especially in Metro. And we adhere to that, to where throughout this, again, nothing's been submitted. But when we go through it, we're not a fly-by-night developer. We've done this a lot. We do a traffic impact study, which is very in-depth, where it'll show exactly what is going on. We've already done that. And so we can go through that at some point in time to show what improvements are necessary. It shows what level of service the roads are currently at, which helps provide that. But again, how we protect this and protect you as a resident that's already there is by making sure the quality of our homes and development is strong, which further increases your value with the size that you have, because it solidifies what you have, but it creates opportunities for other people, like your grandchildren, like people's kids that are trying to stay here, whereas right now they're moving out of town because they can't afford it. And
But you're not increasing our
$400,000.
property value by
Hey,
putting
I would love
55
for you to
homes
respond
in our area.
when I finish. I'm wrapping this up. I promise I'm wrapping this up. When you have a $400,000 to $650,000 home, and you have a $2,500 to $3,500 payment, you cannot be broke to afford that. These are not broke and people that are derelict, if you will. They are people that are serving the community, valuable people that serve the community that can't even live there. And so that's what we're trying to provide, is something super nice.
But the people that want to live in this area want a nice home. They don't want 55 homes right on top
I-
of them.
I'm
That's
glad
what
you, I'm
we
glad
got in
you,
this area. And if you look at our homes, all the homes are different. And what you're going to build cottages and single homes. But if you go look around in Nashville at all the homes, you may have one home different here, but you go down 4 or 5 houses and it's going to be the same thing. You might put a different color on it, but it's all going to be basically the same type of home, same look, same
well, Mrs.
size.
Sutton,
And
you hit on, you said you want something, you really want something to be very nice. And this is what we're doing. I'm glad we can agree that we want the same thing. We want it to be very
We're
nice.
not
I'm
agreeing.
glad we can agree with that.
Okay, we'll go to the next question. Abigail Ferris has had her name up.
Yeah, so I agree with Alma. I understand the quality of the homes is a concern. I also want to make sure quality of life for individuals that live here, right? My concern, partially green space. Davidson County, especially where we live, we're already limited on green space. So adding more concrete to that via 55 homes might not be adequate. We don't want to overcrowd. And my real concern would be rezoning this 0 Campbell Road. Not only negatively impacts our current community, but it can put the future community and residents at a significant disadvantage. And this would be done by overburdening our infrastructure. Like you mentioned, we have speed humps because we have such of a traffic concern right now. We have traffic congestion down on Campbell, or Kenneth, excuse me. We also have overcrowded transit systems that aren't well maintained. And we need to substantially reduce, if you were to build these homes, it would substantially reduce the already limited green space. So putting, like you said, up to 55 or a lot of homes on 9 acres, that's not going to be a sustainable long-term solution to the housing initiatives. So I'm not against growth. I want to mention that. I'm not against growth, but growth at this magnitude and in this area where we don't have traffic outlets, that's going to be unsustainable for our community.
Let me ask you, as I hear what you're saying too. When I go through
Let me say this, I can't afford a home, so do with that what you will. And I can't afford the ones you're presenting.
let me ask this. I know open space is a key, and this is tough for anything that we look at because of how we develop as a whole across Nashville and in the mid-state on greenways and different types of connectivity with that, which is important to me. Currently, to my knowledge, we don't really have sidewalks already in this community. And what we're trying to do is provide that through ours, which gives an outlet to enjoy the open space that currently can't even be enjoyed. So we would like to be part of that solution as we continue to develop and do these parcels to where we can do our fair share to move it forward so that when other properties continue to develop on that line, those connections can be made.
Sure. So I agree with your statement that we want to build, a good community as far as, walkability, but every single one of these neighbors on this call, if not, see us walking every day. We can walk without sidewalks. We like to enjoy, the open space, the green space that we have. And we don't really want to cut that down via concrete. We won't be able to walk.
You have right now? I'm just so I can know. I just want to know where it's at, just so I can be a little bit more aware of it.
What?
You're talking about the green
open
space. I'm just trying to understand where that's.
I mean, there's no
those
other
9
open
acres. I can show you on a map. Also,
Okay.
Another concern. I know you mentioned you have that space that's in with the TVA right of way. I'm curious your thoughts on that because I know they're going to have a substantial amount of right of way on each side of the lines. What are your thoughts on that? And what are your thoughts on? And I'll finish. Raising the concern as a customer of Nashville Electric Service. We have a lot of power quality issues. Have you all done studies with Nashville Electric Service or the power utility regarding how much power you're going to use and how that can be factored in and how you will be able to serve it?
Yeah, a couple things. So I'll go back to the question about the TVA easement.
Yeah.
When you have transmission lines, they're 100-foot buffers. And so the plan that you have now in front of you takes those in consideration. Mm-hmm. As far as other infrastructure, because of how the existing stuff has been developed around you, because it dates way back, stormwater improvement and engineering calculations related to that have changed dramatically through those years. So we're actually going to be maintaining and having a different storm structure, which should actually help water issues in the area from what you currently see. And then your last question, would you mind repeating that one more time for me? Your other concern?
Yeah, so regarding local power company, I know we all
Yeah.
should have some reliability issues, especially with weather, but we've had reliability issues. I know my neighborhood has significantly. How will that impact and maybe hopefully improve and or worsen that when we pop
Yeah, sure.
9
No,
acres worth of
that's a
homes?
that's a great question. Another education piece is when we start these processes, one of the first things we do is we request for utility service availability. That's through Metro Sewer, Water, and is also NES with the power to understand where those constraints are. And then when we determine what we need to do, NES can serve. And mostly on this, and I need to go back through, and maybe you can help me with this, is you're seeing the existing neighborhoods overhead electric, which is susceptible to damage and storms and power outages. When you're doing new developments, this will be underground electric. We'll come off your three-phase power, go underneath the ground. They set transformer boxes, and then all the power's underneath. So there's no more overhead electric lines, which also helps change the feel of a community as well as values as well, because that is a perceived value increase when you don't have overhead electric.
And that's a metro ordinance for all new developments.
Sure.
And most builders are building energy efficient homes today, so they're not as they don't consume as much
But I
electricity.
mean, other than the sidewalks, which I wouldn't consider a sidewalk a green space, how are you going to be benefiting the community with, green space since you're taking up so much that we currently have?
What
We're
do
leaving a lot of it undisturbed, so that's community benefit, especially along the north and west sides. We are exploring like a public walking trail or gathering area, but this is all preliminary.
Thank you. We'll go to
Thank you for the
Mr.
question.
Todd Horn.
Hi, thanks for having this meeting. A couple concerns that I have that I'd like to voice my opinion on is one, the gentlemen have mentioned quite a few times about using harding siding. I have yet to see a contractor in the state of Tennessee cut hardy siding properly, correctly, with the proper notifications to anybody and everybody in the vicinity. It is a carcinogenic. It will kill you if not handled and cut properly. That one reason. Two is on 50 houses or 13 houses, one house per acre, like what the rest of our neighborhood is situated at, we're looking at 52 potential cars. If you bump that up to 55 houses, we're looking at 220 vehicles potentially on our roadways. Our neighborhood is not designed to have 220 potential vehicles on it. Campbell Road right now is an absolute nightmare to get out of our neighborhood. You're sitting at the stop sign for at least 5 minutes or more just to get onto Campbell at given points of the day. With that information, I'm sorry, but my vote for this would be an absolute dead hard no for it.
I appreciate the feedback, Mr. Horn. What is there a specific question that we can help answer related to what you were talking about?
Why not design a space that is cohesive to our neighborhood instead of trying to inundate it with as many properties or as many residential units as you possibly can? This is not a low income or not, I'm sorry, not a low income, that's wrong verbiage. A low price point residential neighborhood. We have a price point here. We need buildings, homes that are set in that price point. If people want a $200,000 home, they need to go to a neighborhood that facilitates a $200,000 home.
Okay, sir, that sounds
discriminatory.
discriminatory. We have fair housing laws that require that you cannot price set a neighborhood. That's not how that works. And these are $200,000 homes. These are quality homes built for families to invest in, just like you invested in your home. They would be investing in their home. This is not a low income or subsidized product. Again, this is a market rate product, but we are not allowed by law, by federal law, to dictate where somebody lives based on their income, race, gender, or anything else.
I'm not saying that you need to do that either.
Well, and again, Mr. Horn, I can appreciate everything you said, and I know from your vantage point, it does seem intense. From what we see and from our contemporaries, it's far from that. Like, this was very intentional, because even with the base zoning and what it actually calls for in the land use, this could go way up. And working with Councilperson Gamble to have these meetings has been very insightful for us on what really is needed. And we are the type of developer that's not slamming density, because I can assure you, you could put a lot more homes than 55.
And we've had
Oh.
proposals before, which I didn't agree with because it was too dense. It was 79 townhomes. It was not mostly for sale. So there are other things that could be proposed that certainly don't fit this neighborhood, but this, I believe, is more in line with a diversity housing option that would complement and enhance the area and provide good quality homes for our residents.
I'm sorry, Ms. Gamble, but no, because what they're proposing has no cohesiveness to the rest of this neighborhood. It stands
Well,
out like a sore
they're not necessarily trying to be I mean, Nashville has changed. I mean, I've lived in Nashville almost 40 years. I've been in my house almost 30 years. My neighborhood has changed since I moved in here in 1997. We're not trying to be what you had in the past. Nashville is growing. We're moving towards the future, and we all, as a city, have to embrace that. I mean, I know it's hard. I know change is hard, but this is where we are as a city. And what I want to do is work with you, the community, work with the developers, work with the city to make sure that we provide more diversity of housing options for our citizens while preserving quality of life. And I don't equate quality of life with a lot size. I equate quality of life with good opportunities for our residents to buy or invest in our community and keeping our community clean and safe.
All right, I have a question never finished from before. Now I lost what I was going to ask you.
Okay, can you hold that, Mr. Denton?
Sure.
Since you spoke, we've got some people who have their hands up who
That's
haven't
fine.
spoken
I
yet.
can't figure out how to raise my hand on.
Oh, that's okay. We'll come back to you. Carrie and Hal, I can't see you. Balthrop, you all haven't asked a question. If you all want to go on and ask your question.
Sure. Thank you, Council Lady Gamble, for hosting this event, and thank you to the prospective builders for joining us and sharing your plans. A question, understanding that you're wanting to optimize profit, which is certainly understandable. Is there an ability to discuss fewer units? I'm sure the consistent messaging you're hearing is the concern about the density. And I will say that even in our neighborhood, and we've lived here over 30 years, as properties have changed and we have some non-owner occupied homes here, the challenge is when you get people in more affordable housing, it's one thing to get them in the housing, but there's also a cost and a responsibility to maintain the property once they take occupancy or ownership. So I would like to see if, first question is it possible to discuss fewer units in this proposed development? And then secondly, would love to discuss further, Council Lady, if possible, what protections we can build into either covenants or HOA policies that could be applied to this particular development.
Thank you for that question. I think we are open to reducing the lot size. It won't be 2 houses per acre. But I think we can discuss a lower density and how that may impact. Also, as the Wayne, I think, discussed, this development would have a HOA. All our new developments have HOAs, and they have requirements to maintain the properties. And actually, their requirements are stricter than a lot of the homes that exist in the neighborhood. I've had codes go through homes that have been existing for 30 years and they don't keep their properties up. So, and then we have issues with people who are aging and having trouble keeping their properties up to standard. And we have some programs in the city to help seniors and other aging people to stay in their homes in order to update and improve their homes in order to stay in their homes. So to your point, that won't be an issue for just any new home buyer. That's already an issue right now for our current homeowners. And I'll let Wayne or Christian talk to the HOA and the reduction of units. I guess my question is, if 6 units, if we're looking at 9 acres of building, and I do want to emphasize, they are looking at preserving almost 3 acres, or maybe a little more than 3 acres of the site, some of which they could build on, but they are maintaining and preserving that open space. In addition to that, where the NES line is, they are wanting to preserve and not touch that space, which I think is important and good. But I'll let Wayne and Christian go further to talk about reduction of units, and then also how the HOAs, how the homes are maintained.
First, going to the HOA, and this is really important because no matter if you have, it goes both ways. You have a new community, you have new homeowners that might really not understand the impact or the financial responsibility and buying lawnmowers, et cetera, taking care of it. You have the same problem with aging people or people that have some issue that happens, whatever it is, life happens, and people don't take care of their property. You have the same problems. What we can do on this and what we have done, especially with cottage type developments, is again, we mandate in the HOA, which is then governed by our property management companies, et cetera, that they pay monthly HOA dues. And in that, there's a maintenance contract with reputable landscape companies around town. And we use several of them that take care of all of the landscaping out front. So it is always maintained. I would argue it's as maintained, if not better, than most other homeowners because it is professionally maintained and they pay for it. On the side of, are we open to discussing a reduction in density? Personally, I feel like we are more than meeting the needs of the community with reducing what could already have been done and what could be proposed. And at this point, I'm in a position of I want to move forward with this concept to be able to bring something special because I don't believe it's too dense.
I would like to mention about the traffic.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. Liam, we'll come back to you and Ron Johnson. I think somebody else, Dan Denton. But since you haven't spoken yet, if you want to go on.
Just to reiterate what Mr. Horn was talking about, rush hour traffic, getting out at Campbell Road. You can't turn left onto Dickerson Road. People use Campbell Road to cut across to the Campbell Road on the other side of Dickerson. That creates a huge bottleneck. And with the new development at Coursey Farms and the new apartments over by Lowe's, this area, especially Campbell Road, is a huge cut through. And I would see a traffic light in the future at that intersection because it will be so much more populated, as well as Woodshire cuts into our neighborhood. It is at the top of a hill. Right now, it is a two-way stop. Being the traffic increase on our street with the walkers that we have and the blind hill that people would have to come in and out of, that would just add traffic to this neighborhood that we just don't want.
Are you
Thank
speaking
you
of
for that. Oh, go ahead.
specifically at West Campbell and Dickerson? I'm trying to, and then the cut through, is it off Apple Valley that crosses over? Is that what you're reading?
Yeah. If you go down West Campbell and come to Dickerson Road, there are houses across Dickerson Road at Echo Hills, and people invariably cut through West Campbell Road to go straight across 5 lanes of Dickerson Road to access Campbell Road as opposed to West Campbell on the east side.
And that's again what's going to pick up in the traffic impact study is it'll pick up just that, because we can't
And then maybe-
arbitrarily even do that. We have to do it even when school's in session. That's why we've done that, to pick up the peaks of what the traffic does, and we'll have to adhere to that.
And Wayne, I'll add that it may be a case that that's a community benefit that could be added to this project. Maybe a traffic light at Dickerson Pike and West Campbell Road could be an added benefit to help with the traffic flow that already exists, and any additional traffic as a result of this development could be a possibility as well.
And the sidewalks that you were talking about, I have seen new development in Davidson County. And for instance, even in our area, the codes requires any new, especially commercial development, has to have a sidewalk. The people at the apartments at Robert Cartwright don't have access to that sidewalk that was required in front of Dollar General store. And the same thing is going to happen with your neighborhood that you want to put in. Yes, there will be sidewalks right there at that address, but past that, there will not be sidewalks. Up on Kniff Parkway, where we have speed humps, there will not be sidewalks.
That's correct.
So the sidewalks is nice for that neighborhood, but it won't help the rest of the neighborhood.
Jennifer, can I speak?
I'm done. Thank you.
Is that Councilmember Webb?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay, so I just want the developers to know where I stand. And just so you know, I'm the council person on the other side of Campbell. So I know these people. Not only do I know these people because some of the people are my residents too, are my constituents. I was born and raised in this neighborhood. Green Acres was the only house I lived in for 24 years. I always side with Jennifer, and I think I'm a council person that tries to find the middle. But I'm going to tell you right now, if this was my area, I would think I would be doing the homeowners an injustice. Jennifer, I don't get mad at me. I just got to openly speak, and I know we're friends, but I want to speak openly. Now, when I go and I meet people and I tell them, you know, just remember, you never know when a council person's going to be where they're going to be, to always try to find a middle. I'm sorry.
And
right
Jennifer,
now,
you know me, and that's what I've always strived to do. I've been on
I know.
This is my second term on the council.
Yeah,
and
I
I've
know.
done quite a few.
Hey, anybody will tell you in this group, you are one. I've told them all, you're one of my favorite. Okay, and I feel like you have, and I just feel like I always feel like that there is a middle, and I want people to know that there is change, but I want the developers to know I'm a builder too. Okay, I built some of these $400,000 homes over on Plum Street off of Mike Drive. To me, there's a place for these homes, and then there's places that they're not supposed to be. And I mean, you can sit here and try to convince them that it's not going to lower their prices, and this is what this neighborhood needs, but it's not. These smaller homes will lower their values. It's too dense for this area. And I just want you to know, one thing that, upsets me even more about it is I bought a house over there on Fairbanks. Everybody knows it's right off of West Campbell. And I asked to build 2 houses because the other side of West Campbell is only zoned for 1 house an acre. Okay. So I asked, could I split it up and build 2, and got denied. But now they're going to say, okay, let's put 8 or 6 on an acre right across the street. So as a,
where is that?
Right across the street, Fairbanks, right off.
Okay.
If you go down the first road to the left, it's back off in there in a little area. It's one of the streets in the very back, house burned down. So we as a council and as a city, we got to make sure that we're getting on the same page for everybody. But what I want to get back to is, I mean, there is change, and I just put an affordable, I just put an affordable condos in an area in my lane, in my area called Liberty Lane, because I do feel like we need that. And when I try to tell my people, don't get stigmatized by the word affordable. My niece is a single parent of one, makes $47,000 a year, and she qualifies for 60% affordable. So a lot of our metro workers qualify for some type of affordable. Just there's different levels of affordable. So let's don't. I just want everybody to understand. Don't get too stigmatized by wording, because it's what we're putting there. But I mean, I have been bombarded with emails. I want the developers to know I probably got 30 emails I can send to you from everybody in the area, and there's not been one yes.
Well,
if y'all want to move,
thank you, council member. You know, I do appreciate your comments, and I do appreciate you joining this call, but I don't appreciate the I guess the taking over.
I wasn't taking over. I was just
this meeting in this session.
Okay.
I appreciate your comments.
I got it.
We could go to the
I'm
next.
still-
Go to the
I'm
next.
still
go to the
curious
next.
how we think it's going to drive values down. I've always been intrigued by
It won't. I mean, and I'm not even going to get into that because there is no evidence. We've had similar developments in similar neighborhoods, and it has not drawn down. We've had even more density in townhome developments that have not drawn down prices or property value. So I don't know what Jennifer's talking
because
about.
we're seeing houses selling in the
Councilmember Gamble,
$400,000 to $600,000 range in this neighborhood. And our
could I speak to the Councilmember
Yes, please.
Webb's comment about the middle and finding the middle?
Yeah.
You know what I guess everyone on this call doesn't know is I've worked with Josh, who came before everyone here before, with a much more dense plan that was full of townhomes. When Wayne and I initially came to you, we were drawn to the property because the policy, Nashville Next, that we all abide by, community character manual back in 2015, 2017, that was done by everyone and city staff, community members, potentially people on this call. This parcel and other parcels in this neighborhood, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but they were given a T3 neighborhood evolving, which that land policy would allow for, in theory, a lot more than 55 homes. And you push back on us on that. And, you know, we were aware of there's a land use amendment that you're moving forward. And so that's what we've met, or I guess what I would say is reached the middle on, is